Hello and welcome to Chesapeake Today. It's your Executive Director, David Liu.
And Candace Montgomery, Director of Life Enrichment.
Candace, we are, from my perspective, getting pretty close to Thanksgiving.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy.
And I am also, this week, starting to think about putting my pies together.
Yeah.
I got to get my ingredients going. Now, I'm going to go to the kitchen because I borrow from the chef one of these apple peelers. Have you ever used one?
Oh yeah.
You put that in there and you
saves a lot of time.
Does course it, and I just have my apples peeled.
Yes.
So that you brought me the apples from Carter Mountain. They've been chilling beautifully since then.
Good.
So that's one thing. But before that, I guess we got to reflect back. Last week we had a lot of good things going on.
Yes, we had a lot happening.
It was. So we started what? Foundation breakfast.
Yeah, we kicked off the week strong with
And
that.
Travis Mayhew, sir, if you ever watch this show, thank you for flipping pancakes with me. We don't flip burgers, we flip pancakes.
Right.
That was good. The chef, Bruce, everybody did a nice job. It had fruit toppings.
I know, I noticed that this time. That was a nice addition.
And if you needed to make a little fruit salad, you could. So that worked with a cherry on top.
Right.
So that was well. Mary Beth was down from the VBH Foundation.
Yeah.
And I think our total for the three funds, which is, of course, the Benevolence Fund that supports residents who could someday be in need, Scholarship Fund, Crisis Fund, those two for team members, real close to $2,500.
Great.
So definitely worthwhile. Had on a Monday. We weren't sure.
It was different.
And we may next year hit Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Look at the rhythm, but we're starting to plan next year.
Oh, most definitely, because it'll be here before you know it, realistically.
We'll be turning the page. So we had that, and then other things. Bonfire, very creative.
Thank you.
When I heard about s'mores, etc., and of course, we have to momentarily just say we're so regretful that a couple folks did have a little mishap. Want them both to quickly get well. We're seeing them doing better.
Yes.
But when you think about the joy, the creativity of it, the s'mores, the goodies, the experience. Good evening.
Oh, yes. Entertainment.
Yeah.
We had entertainment out there. I mean, I think for me, the things that touched me the most were residents saying, I can't remember the last time I had a s'more.
Yeah.
Or this has taken me back to year whatever, or thinking of times that they spent with their family, their children. That was special for me.
So was there anyone that insisted on flaming their marshmallows?
Oh, yes.
Had to get them really charcoaly.
Yes, several that were, because we were kind of, we were out there for almost 3 hours realistically. So we had a whole range of different people coming depending on what time they ate dinner, wine club and things. So the folks early on were adamant. They were like, I want to be there. I want to get my marshmallows. I don't want anything to get in my way. So those folks were adamant about toasting it really, really where it was on fire. So kept an extra eye on those folks.
Yeah.
For sure.
So did you have special sticks? What did you use for the...
We had these really long skewers so they didn't have to stand too close to the fire. So they got the job done for sure.
Very cool. Well, if you keep doing it, you never know. We may have people with their own personal. I mean, just like our Q stick people.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you may have bonfire skewer people, and it could be a new Christmas fad.
Yeah.
A new present giving out.
And we had a couple of interesting things out there too, because I don't know if I've mentioned before. Have you ever had a Reese's cup instead of the chocolate on a s'more before?
I have not.
It's really good. So I asked the kitchen, I was like, can we have just some of those in case people are interested in it? And everybody was like, I can't believe I've never tried this before. It's very unique. It's good.
All right. So now, she already knows this. If my microphone's picking up my stomach growling, it's really going to be growling now.
No,
I'm thinking about Reese cups.
I'm not
so
helping.
It's good. Well, neat event. So that was cool.
Yes.
And then, and again, one other thing we didn't acknowledge, and I guess we need, is the service of remembrance. Because that happened really the day before the pancake breakfast. And for the Spiritual Life Committee and Uwe, remembering those 42 residents, just a special occurrence. So that was Sunday, so it really did kick off an incredible week.
Yeah.
And then you go to Friday and the Veterans Program.
I know, yes, Veterans Program.
So a lot of new inspirations came this year. How did that all come about? Because the one common comment after the service, best ever.
Oh,
so
I appreciate
tell me how
that.
you all came to that and what did it consist of?
Yeah, so Jim Lewis and I have been working on this for quite some time. He approached me with, he's seen kind of the last years and things that he thought maybe we could tweak some things. So him and I have been collaborating. He put the PowerPoint presentation together and just has been so wonderful. I know he helped Uwe with his service of remembrance too. So I told him, if we keep using you, I think you made that comment too, we're going to have to start paying him.
He's our new director of PowerPoint.
Yeah, but he really has a passion for it and does it really well, and I'm so thankful.
Yeah. It was very well done. And I think just not only the flow of the service, but the way that you had the folks. Of course, we always have the gentlemen, people bringing in the flags.
Yes.
Having one of our own, Michelle Brumwell. She's our activities coordinator over in healthcare, but her husband and Coast Guard came.
And I was so grateful because Coast Guard is a little bit tricky to find.
And here you had a uniformed.
I loved what it. More? It was perfect.
So that was there, and Jane Strebel leading the songs. A lot of good comments from folks and who spoke. But it went so smoothly, and I think that what an added enhancement of not just us seeing the static pictures that you now have assembled on the poster boards, but for people to see on that big screen the pictures of the various servicemen
and kind of hearing
and servicewomen. Penny was on there.
Oh, I know. And we had several ladies, but I liked hearing people's comments in the audience as they saw someone's picture, like, "Oh, look at him," or that's fun.
So just a neat thing. So way to raise the bar.
Thank
That's good.
you.
Yeah.
And that morning we were working hard.
What service project did you do?
So we have partnered with the Peninsula Rescue Mission. We have 2 dates this month, and we did our first date last week. So they had an amazing assembly table, and we had boxes, and we were taking the boxes open and sorting all of these canned goods. And they had one table for corn, one table for stuffing. And I mean, there's like 12 different stations, and me and 5 other residents, they put us to work. We were working hard.
Very cool.
And Madeline Walsh was our, "That goes there, don't put that there." And she was real fun the whole time.
That doesn't surprise me.
And her son joined us. He came, and that was really fun. He was in the area, and he was planning on staying for the Veterans Program. So said, "Hey, he can come, no problem."
Well, think about that. A group of residents, and we speak about how do you age successfully. One of them is staying vocationally or volunteering. So this is just a great way of feeling good, because imagine you all were tired. But at the same time, you also know you did something good.
Oh, it felt so good, and they were so appreciative.
What did we accomplish? High-fiving. So more of you. More of us. I mean, we could even add some more team members to an initiative. So.
Yeah, and we have another date on the 21st. So if anyone is interested, we're trying to keep our group small. Like 6 is ideal because they don't have a huge space at the mission. So it worked perfectly because they still had like 3 of their own people. So if you're interested, I think right now we have 3 people signed up for the 21st. So if you're interested.
And I still would suggest that, again, that 6 there, but there could be other initiatives.
Oh, certainly,
and there's something that's, you residents, things that were near and dear to your hearts as you lived in this area. Are there any type of service projects that you would like to lead? And then I know you're going to be documenting all of our social accountability, all these things that team members, residents, we do here for others that are good to track as a nonprofit. So very nice.
We have some very active volunteers here, which is nice to see.
Good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Excellent.
So, boy, we just did a lot, and we haven't even got into this week.
I know,
so,
and this week we're packed too.
All right, so let's hear what's cooking.
Yeah, so this week, Anne, our new fitness director, she's starting a gratitude workshop. It's that time of year. You should, be grateful all throughout the year, but this is the time of year we place that extra focus. So Monday, she's doing that at 1:30 in the Captain's Cove, and she's got a nice setup worked out of something that's active for people to do. So that'll be interesting. Golden Hour with Bucky is on Monday, so 3 p.m. Hoping we have a good turnout for that. Newport Courtyard. Fall Festival is Tuesday. That's our new big thing that we're doing. It's going to be from 1 to 4 p.m. Chesapeake Room. We're going to have all types of vendors there. So I've been working with the Poquoson Art League. We're having a lot of folks coming in from there. We have our woodshop group's going to have a table, try to raise some money through that. Brenda and the Boutique's going to have a table. Kitty Boatwright wants to have a table and kind of display some of her artwork. We're going to have a couple of tables set up in the back where folks can actually do a craft or take it with them, whatever they prefer. We're going to have a popcorn bar set up with different types of toppings. Utilize some of those hay bales we had from the bonfire. Just it's going to be a great time. Just come out, and it might be a good time to shop for some Christmas gifts. So it'll be great.
So it sounds like there's things to see.
Oh yeah.
Things to buy. And some fun to experience.
To eat.
Okay, to eat. Good.
Hitting all the hot spots there.
Yeah, wonderful.
So that's Tuesday.
So popcorn toppings. Now, I have some knowledge of places that do it.
Yeah.
Tell me what toppings you like on popcorn.
So the ones that we're going to have, these aren't always necessarily things that I like, but I've been working with Selena, and she has given me blessing to give a couple of toppings that aren't the healthiest.
Okay.
So we'll have some dried fruit, some nuts, also little miniature marshmallows, pretzels, so kind of sweet and salty if people like that. Also doing some of the fun fall candy corn, the little pumpkins and things like that, just making it different so people can decide how they want their popcorn to be.
Okay, so are these actually are you really making popcorn?
Yeah, we're really making popcorn.
But then you're going to have toppings?
They can build it how they want. So it's kind of like you get the popcorn, you've got a bag, and you kind of just add down the line.
Ooh.
And then shake it up.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
See, now, me, I will reflect on Garrett's. Garrett's is a Chicago, Illinois staple.
Yeah.
There's a couple downtown and one at the O'Hare Airport. And when you go to Garrett's, they have this all day long. You smell popcorn.
Yeah.
When you go to Chicago, there's a queuing line to get into the store. People wait that long.
Oh, wow.
Now there, and I may not get them all correct, but there's a regular popcorn called buttered, and then there's kettle corn, and then there's cheese corn, and then there's caramel corn, and maybe one or two others. And then you can get them in huge tubs. It's real fresh, very flavorful.
Oh my goodness.
The Chicago mix, cheese and caramel.
Oh, interesting.
Those are the two. That's the Chicago mix, that's the most popular. Now, I've also been to places where they've done and in this area, Old Bay and some spices that you could, and I say spices, so it's not as much as a sweet. I heard all this candies.
I know.
I need a little.
Well, we're trying to do the nuts and the pretzels, so that's the,
that'll be fun.
Not too much of the spice there.
All right, so I'm excited to see it. So the neat.
You're just hungry, that's why we're.
That's right, I'm talking popcorn. Let's keep on talking food here. So, what's for Thanksgiving?
Right.
Let's keep talking food.
My goodness.
So that is a cool event. All right, so that's next week. What else?
Right, and then we also have that same day, so Tuesday, Mary Tatum is going to be doing a book signing and also doing a lecture on the president's wives. And that's going to be really fascinating. That's at 7 in the Chesapeake
Mary's
Room.
book, poetry, or what was
She has a couple of different things. She does focus on devotionals. And it's very inspirational, positive thinking, that sort of thing. But it's interesting how she pairs the two. She's done this in the past.
Yeah.
So that should be a really good time. Wednesday, we have a Mark Twain impersonator coming. And I'm very excited about this because I don't think we've had an impersonator here before. And Mark Twain is so interesting. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. That's at 7, Chesapeake Room.
Yeah.
So I think that one will be a big hit. Friday, we're going to Bonefish Grill. That's a lunch trip, leaving at 11:30 from the Hampton entrance. And then Saturday, we're having a Virginia Handbell Consort. That's at 2 p.m. in the Chesapeake Room. And I'll be here that day for MOD.
So handbell. And this group is from where?
They're from Newport News. So they've been here in the past, and it is a well-attended event. It's very formal of how they do things. So it should be a really good time.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What a great program. Fantastic. Well, I think you all are going to have to, have your own little logistical maps to keep track of all these things. You got the connections,
so
you got the
much.
calendars, you got the apps you can get into, but that is good.
Lots of choices for sure.
Well, heck, me just spending a few hours putting pies together is nothing compared to how tired I am listening to all of that.
Well, everybody's already talking about the pies, so.
Well, it'll be fun. And my sister Terry is going to join us. In fact, she's flying in from Cincinnati, and she respects traditions and love, our mother's recipes, and she's a great baker herself. So she'll be helping Bear and I.
Good.
I'll get all the mincemeat together, and I like putting it in the refrigerator for a couple of days, just let it all come together. And then we'll start baking up the pies. I usually will get all the mincemeat done first, then I'll move on to the pumpkin.
Okay.
So I'm still thinking 36 is my number.
Okay.
Because that's about all I can carry in my car.
That's a lot.
I mean, it's like covering them in the
impressive.
back, and then I put them under the lower seats, and I got a couple pies as my bike buddy, and it's telling me to put the seatbelt on, but I
Right,
can't
'cause
because
of
I
the
just got
weight.
pies.
Right.
So it's
Oh my
rather
God.
comical.
Yeah.
And I drive real
fun.
slow.
You have to.
And I should put a sign up in the back. Careful, pies in transit.
Pies in transit.
But I have not.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is good. All righty. Well, then next week will be, before we know it, talking about Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we can tell all of you, remind you, yes, reservations are open. You can go to the concierge, and again, not on to dine time, but the concierge can take your reservation for Mariners or Regatta, or larger parties will be set up in the Chesapeake Room.
Right.
And there's like almost 2 or 3 different times of rhythm. They just sort of scatter, making it a good experience for all. So I know Chef Julian has been planning, preparing, ordering, so it will be a wonderful Thanksgiving meal.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday.
It
You
is
know?
good family holiday.
Yeah, it's hard. It feels like sometimes it gets overlooked because each year it's like Christmas is in the stores sooner, and
Yeah.
I love
It's
Thanksgiving.
and it is, and for people just to enjoy family, good food, etc. So I'll start. We can talk early now. We're getting people excited about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What's your number one favorite food?
I think it has to be green bean casserole. And I feel like that's everyone's least favorite thing.
Oh,
I don't
no.
know. That and sweet potato casserole is I have to have.
Do you have marshmallows on your sweet potato casserole?
Yes, I do have
And
marshmallows.
are you using real sweet potatoes? You like to use yams out of the can?
No, the real ones, yeah.
Any-
Not that I cook it, though. My
Yeah.
husband does that.
Okay, so
Everyone knows I'm a
butter,
terrible cook.
butter, brown sugar,
Yeah.
cinnamon, nutmeg, that type of stuff on it.
Yes.
That's good.
All of that good stuff.
So if I would reverse the question, because thank you for asking, my favorite item, I'm just right now because I'm so hungry, I just want stuffing or
You want the
dressing.
stuffing? Okay.
You know, and what my mother did it really simple. I mean, many of the ladies watching and perhaps your family,
Yeah.
people really have some pretty significant recipes for
Oh,
it.
yeah.
My mom's was simple.
Okay.
Minced onions sauteed in butter, lots and lots of butter, bread just torn into pieces, and
Okay.
it could be white, could be wheat,
Sure,
whatever, and that buttery onion on top of this bread, salt and pepper,
Okay.
done.
And that's it.
Stuff in the bird, stuff it in, or put it into a pan. The pan would be a little bit drier, of course, and the bird's going to be moist. And it just was super buttery, a little salt and pepper. The onions came through into the bird. It was simple.
Wow.
No sage, no
None of the
sausage,
added
none of the,
things.
no giblets. It was just simple, but good. Yeah, what fun. So, other than that, we are going to look forward to it. So,
Yeah.
what's your teaser?
I know, brain teaser. This one actually stumped folks. So last week,
Did Liz Singer get it?
he stumped it. I
Oh,
stumped him.
Dave Litzinger, she got you.
I really felt proud in that moment because it's kind of it's challenging because he gets it every time. I'm like, okay, what can I do? Okay, so last week's was what 2 things did the Mayflower bring in November that the Native Americans did not want? The correct answer was pilgrims and smallpox. A lot of people got the smallpox but threw measles in there too.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting.
So, you know, when I first thought of this,
Okay.
because I'm going back to my remembrance of what did Captain Cook and the early ships bring to Hawaii when they did that,
Oh.
they brought rats. Because in the bottom of ships, with all the things, rats would get on,
my
and that
gosh.
was provided. And in fact, yeah, that was something. So I'm thinking,
get that answer.
so that's what I was ready to say. It's rats and things that slipped in the boats and came over.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Well, that is a cool one. So
Yeah, okay.
now, how are you going to tease us this week?
So this one will be interesting. So this week, first I threw away the outside and cooked the inside. Then I ate the outside and threw away the inside. What did I eat? I'll repeat it again. First I threw away the outside and cooked the inside. Then I ate the outside and threw away the inside. What did I eat? Call me, email me, stop me in the hallway.
Sounds like that could be in that food fair in my
It
popcorn
could, I
mix.
know.
So I don't know. I have to figure out that one. What fun. Well, I know residents will continue to be challenged by your teasers. You're now getting at how challenging it is to come up with one every week.
It is.
When I do my trivia
You come
on
up with a
Wednesdays,
lot.
it's like
I know.
But the reality, it is endless.
And it's fun.
And it is fun. Absolutely. Well, cool.
Yeah.
So get on your thinking caps, come up with that teaser answer, and we'll be anxious to hear it next week.
Yes.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for joining us today. Have a great week and get involved in all the things that are going to be happening for you.
All right. Have a good one.
Hello and welcome to this special segment of the Chesapeake Today Show where we get to greet, meet, interview another one of our fine residents. Today, Larry Bierman. Great having you with us today, Larry.
Oh man, it's good to be here. I've been looking forward to this, but just wondering what was going to happen.
Yeah, well, we've been talking for some time about getting the ambassador of Smithfield here.
Oh.
And we thought we better. But Larry, just great having you, and it's always fun for me to learn, listen, and we've chatted, we talked before, but still, for some residents who don't know you, give us a little background. Where are you originally from? Where were you raised?
Okay. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, on the northwest side, on November the 8th, 1936. I lived with my maternal grandparents initially, and their house was built by Walt Disney's father, who went to the same grade school I went to, but not at the same time, before they moved to St. Louis. And he was a railroad engineer on Milwaukee Road, and so they were originally from Virginia and moved east to Chicago, and that's where I was born, and then went to school and high school, and then at 17, I enlisted in the Air Force during the Korean War and served on and off for 8 years. Came home at that time. My mother and my grandfather and a great uncle had moved to Jacksonville, Florida. So I've spent most of my life in the South, and came down there, and it was during that time in the service. A young boy. I was 17. And you mentioned about it today. It whipped me in line. It gave me discipline, responsibility. Made me think about my future and accounting for myself. And so I was in the service one night listening on the short wave. I was listening to Billy Graham.
Yeah.
And I made my confession of faith on that. And then it was a short time after that, the Lord called me to preach. And so I went and talked with the chaplain, and he spoke to me and gave me some encouragement. And I was baptized overseas in a German Baptist church in Bremerhaven, Germany. And that was a rather unique experience. As Baptists, we immerse. Well, in the German tradition, you're not baptized unless you're immersed 3 times, Trinitarian immersion.
Yeah.
So I used to always joke about that. 3 times I was baptized, and I fought going into the ministry. I didn't want to go in. I had other plans, and I said, that's not what I want to do. But the Lord dealt with me, so I got my discharge, came home to Jacksonville, started school there at Jacksonville University, and started preaching in 1957.
1957.
So I've been, this is my 65th year. While I was in school, had a student pastorate. My first church paid me $12.50 a week.
Now, did you get a bonus if it was a good sermon?
Yeah. Well, my grandkids don't believe this. Of course, gas was only 19 cents a gallon, so it kept my car full of gas and gave me spending money. And so finished up there. Then went on to our Baptist school in Jackson, Mississippi, Clinton, Mississippi College.
Okay.
Got my bachelor's degree there. Then did my graduate work at New Orleans Baptist Seminary in New Orleans, and started pastoring in Louisiana. In Florida, I pastored in Jacksonville, Daytona Beach, Miami, and while in Miami, I got called into the chaplaincy with the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Okay.
And so I served at the VA hospital in Miami for a while, and then I got called to Hampton in June of 1973. Served here for 21 years, retired as Chief of Chaplain
Service.
Service.
That was at the VA hospital?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Retired in 1994. Then retired. Then I took up pastoring again at Parkview Baptist Church in 1995. Served there for 12 years. Retired again. Then I got a call to Memorial Baptist Church in Hampton, and took up a pastorate with them again.
Yeah.
And since then I've been doing interim pastoral work, Bible teaching, supply preaching, and so I've been still going.
So how many times did I hear that word retired?
Yeah,
how many times?
I never get it right.
You may get a record for this. We're going to keep counting here. All right, Larry, you just took me on a world journey. All right, I was still hanging on to Chicago, and I was a little cold.
Well,
can I go back? Did you ever root for the Cubs?
Oh, let me tell you. I remember the days going to Wrigley Field. It was, what was it, 75 cents to get into the bleachers.
And what was a hot dog back then?
And I think a hot dog, I can't tell you, it was 25 cents, I think, 50 cents, something like that.
Well, for a gallon of gas.
But you still had to save up your money because your allowance, because you couldn't afford to go to the game every day.
Yeah.
You didn't have the money for it. But I remember, not you mentioned, David, I remember going back, I remember seeing some of the greats that came along. Well, then there were the White Sox, but, you know, it's like any city. You root for one team or the other.
That's right. Well, you were Northwest. As soon as you said Northwest,
we were the Cubs.
You were Wrigleyville, and you were a Cub fan.
And my favorite play was Andy Pafko, and we used to stand out his apartment and wait for him to come out, you know. And he'd say, "Hey, you boys," he'd kind of get us all ruffled up. But yeah, I saw some of the greats play. Jackie Robinson and all of them played along.
Do you remember who was the third baseman? Ron Santo?
Yes, yeah.
You remember him?
Yeah.
Because that was like one of the first players that I remember who was a Cub.
And of course, it was before my time with Lou Gehrig, but Lou Gehrig was a hero, and Babe Ruth. Mm-hmm. Then there was Joe DiMaggio. We'd go to Comiskey Park occasionally to go see the Yankees and the White Sox play. Yeah. That was always something exciting to see. In fact, the first time I ever saw a triple play was the Cubs were playing the Dodgers, and and Jackie Robinson was involved in it. So it was a really exciting game. I can remember that to this day. Yeah. But as kids, we used to play sandlot ball on the open field or in the street. A lot of that going on. And in those days, too, David, we didn't have any gangs, but we had groups. We were called the Trip Avenue Regulars. Mm-hmm. And we would do things together as kids. Yeah. You know, just sport around and all that, play baseball and stuff. And
how exciting.
As a kid coming up.
So when you think of those cold days, yesteryear, because then you had this wonderful array of experiences. Florida, the southern states where you went to school, pastored.
It was a different situation then. I was in young adulthood and had been out of the service. In fact, going into college, I was like 4 years older than most of the others because I was considered older because I'd gone in the service for 4 years. And had a lot different view of things than a lot of the younger students did. But it was, again, the military was a good experience in giving you guidance and direction and responsibility. And then while I was there in Florida, I met my first wife, Mary Ann Bassford. And Mary Ann, we were going to the First Baptist Church in Jacksonville, and Dr. Lindsay was a senior pastor, and he led me in the ministry. In our denomination, we get licensed to preach. Mm-hmm. So I presented myself that the Lord was calling me and that the church would look over me and I had chances to preach. Mm-hmm. And that was before ordination. And he was my mentor. And Mary Ann and I, their family was very predominant and influential in the church. And well, we got married, and it was 1959, October, and we raised 3 daughters.
Okay.
Yeah, my 3, and all 3 of them live here in the area.
Are they? Did they come to this area when you, of course, were working in the VA hospital?
Yeah.
So was their education and life?
The main education, they all went to Bethel High School here in Hampton, and one daughter went to ODU. One daughter went to Thomas Nelson. Mm-hmm. One daughter went to Christopher Newport. I'm trying to remember now. VCU. Yeah. I'm getting confused. VCU, and all of them are actively working and engaged in their fields and working. And we got 4 great-grandchildren. And Mary and I were married until 1998 when she died of cancer. Mm-hmm. And I'd been attending the First Baptist Church, and Marie, my present wife, and her husband and I were good friends. Yeah. And he passed away in 1996, 2 years before Mary Ann did. So one day her mother-in-law had died, so I called up to wish her condolences. And in the course of my conversation, I said, Marie, I'd like to come, maybe would you come out to dinner with me? We can talk about old times. And so she told me later, she said, I don't believe you'll ever call me back, but I did. We went out to dinner and we started dating, and then in June of 2000, we got married, and we've been married since. And she had 3 children, 2 daughters and a son, and together we have
You have your Brady Bunch.
11 grandchildren, 6 great grandchildren.
Yeah.
So have a nice family together, and they live, all except one. One daughter lives in California on her side. All of them live in the area here, and so that was.
That's a wonderful coming together.
Yeah,
and then for your kids to know that mom and dad, respectively, are happy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all this extension of family, that's pretty special.
Well, you see, along with doing the stuff with pastor and all that, we also, we were living over in Alawite County, Marie and I were. Mary and I had bought a house out in Gatling Point, and Marie and I lived there for a while. Then we moved to Woodbridge to downsize in a condo. And then one day, we were sitting there, and I was having trouble with arthritis, and so was she. I had 14 steps to go upstairs, and suddenly I couldn't make it. And I said, maybe we better start thinking about maybe getting a rancher or moving somewhere. Well, to make a long story short, during the same time, too, I came out and held services every Thursday.
Here at the Chesapeake.
In the old health unit. Every Thursday. And I remember being involved with the Baptist Association, and when we started this in '68, before I got here, I was well acquainted with the Chesapeake. Well, Marie said, well, we ought to consider this. So, again, being good stewards, well, I knew how well this place was run and all that, but I said, well, let's check out all the others, just be on the safe side. So we did. We checked out one by one by one, but we came back to the Chesapeake. So I remember we came in and marketing, we were in there, Liz G took care of us, and we got to talking about it and looking at it, and she showed me that the cottage we're in now was vacant. And I said, I don't know if we can come in here. She said, why not? I said, well, we got 3 small dogs. She said, how big are they? Well, they each weigh 18 pounds. I said, and she said, wait, had that big yard in the back. And I said, boy, that's beautiful. So in August of 2012, we moved in here. 2012. So it's been over 10 years
10
we've been
years.
here. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't seem like it's been 10 years. We've enjoyed it.
You've been busy. You've been
and we haven't been, and that's the other thing, David. I think the thing that makes it a place that a lot of people say, well, I can't leave my home and all, but this is our home. But you get involved in things. For instance, we're in water aerobics actively. We're in the religious part of it, the teaching and all that, and the entertainment. And one of the best things we like to do is come in to eat in the dining room and socialize. And it keeps you in touch with our neighbors, but it's involvement. And of course, the nice thing about it is I can sit back and watch them cut the grass, rake the leaves.
And you don't have to do
it. Bring them a bottle of water and say, I'm thankful, thanks for doing it for me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, clearly for my going on 6 years, I've only been here half the time that you've been here, but it's been just always a delight witnessing how great of an ambassador you are. I said earlier for Smithfield, you're an ambassador of the Chesapeake.
Well, we do. We talk it up wherever we can, and I remind people, and I think it's something that skips their mind. When I was in the pastorate, I'd have a widow, and I'd say, "Are you planning to move?" She, I could never leave my home, and so I'd say to her, "Well, let me ask you something. Can you climb up on the ladder, clean your gutters? Can you paint the house?" And no, I can't do any of that. I said, well, then this really is not the home you had.
Yeah.
It's more you're like a prisoner. I said, don't you think you need to be thinking about a place where you can go where you can do things you want to do and not worry about these things? That'll become your home. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people have to get that in their mind, in that way. I didn't look at coming to the Chesapeake as the end of my life. This was a transition. Like I said, I'm 86. My mother lived to be 100, and I told the Lord, I prayed the prayer of Hezekiah. When he was sick, he turned his head to the wall and he said, Lord, I've been a good person. Give me life, and Lord, I'll give you 15 more years. So I said to the Lord, could you give me at least 15 more years? So if I passed my mother.
Yeah.
But I didn't look at it as the end, as a transition, as a new era in our life. And again, using talents and gifts that you got to help
that you've
others.
shared with others, you've inspired others. I know countless residents enjoy your education, enjoy you sharing your faith, and that's a gift you keep giving. And I think we all realize that's how we age successfully.
Well,
we just enjoy. We're giving back, social, all the ways we can connect here.
Well, that's an issue that's so important because I keep mentioning to people, one of the things you have to keep is a good sense of humor. And I know you just have to have some humor.
Yeah.
You've got to look at life, and even the Lord, had some humor, I think, and there was a lot of humor in the Bible. And you've got to have that humor to get you through. And it's, you can't take yourself so seriously that, you're always, you're worrying about how am I doing this, doing that. I said, we do the best you can and go on and enjoy what you've got.
Yep, joy, have laughter, absolutely.
Well, it's like your leadership and the leadership of others on the staff, and I get to know people by their first name, like the servers. I like to talk to them, but I appreciate the fact what's being done. And I know in these times, these are difficult times. I don't know how we hold together as we do with keeping things as we do. And I remind people, they say, well, if it was in my home, I said, well, if you're in your home, you'd be facing costs going up. Everything's going up. I just went to the store the other day, went to get a tub of strawberries that were $4.50 last week. They're now $8.62.
Goodness.
That's just one item.
Yeah.
So, and I'm surprised that we do as well as we do here.
Yeah.
I
think that we do well because we're very fortunate in the roots and how this place was founded. And you can appreciate that. And I just will always advocate, remember, and honor our Christian roots and the Baptist Church. It is a Baptist home, and that's been delightful for me to carry that torch. But now we do have so many different folks living here and working here. And we really are the fabric of this community.
Well, it is.
Diversity.
And it's strange, too, you mentioned that. When we moved here, Marianne said somebody came in that he's going on now, found out they were distant relatives and didn't know it.
Yeah.
And I've had more people say to me, I came to the Chesapeake, and I remember going to school with that gentleman or that lady over there. Here we are meeting again. Hadn't seen him in 50 years.
Yeah. Well, I was with a resident this week visiting her, Ms. Calhoun. She grew up in the area. She said, I'm going through and looking at names, and it's like my high school yearbook. And now I remember what they look like looking at here, and I can see their eyes. I know who it is. I know them.
Well, listen, I can remember when you took a relative to someone's house that was running a quote-unquote nursing home, and all they got was a bed and three men, and that was it, and the house was, just run by the person, that was all you had. And when I look at the Chesapeake and realize what we have here, now, I don't know if you'll appreciate this or not, but I think it's a good compliment. Somebody I knew some time ago found out I was living at the Chesapeake. They said, well, you live at Buckingham Palace. I said, what are you talking about? Well, if you drive along the road and you look at a fountain going up and the balcony to the Hampton entrance, it looks like Buckingham, and it's very impressive.
Yeah.
And people have said to me, and they come by, they said, we're always impressed with what we see at the Chesapeake. And I said, well, I'm thankful it's there, but think about it. That many years ago, there wasn't any place like this.
Yeah. And I think we continue to just reinvent ourselves, and great folks moving in, great residents here. Yeah, it's a special place.
And again, you mentioned a variety of people. You get to meet people from all different backgrounds, and that's one of the things I enjoy is talking with people, getting their experiences, and just like the service this afternoon with the veterans. When you go through all the pictures and you realize, golly, look at all, and how we haven't changed or have changed. But we all came from the same sort of background, and yet different circumstances and everything.
And here today, connected through this family of people. So we're all special. Well, Larry, as always, a pleasure chatting. I like being reminded about that. I had a brief history in Chicago, and I always now remember a little bit about your connection. But just for all you've done for our residents, for the community, being Mr. Ambassador, Thank you. It's very much appreciated.
Well, Marie and I appreciate you all and the fact that we have the opportunity to live here, and we're looking at it. I think the thing that I find the most secure is my kids don't have to worry about us. We're taking
Gift
care
that
of.
we've given. Yeah.
That's right. Now we can enjoy each other
Yeah.
and into it. So, but we do thank you all.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, we appreciate you being on this segment of the show today, and for everyone, I know you're going to enjoy this interview, and now maybe something else, some conversation piece next time you see Larry. You know, you can talk to him about it. So, again, that signs off on this part of the TV show, and thanks for joining us.